Welcome to today's explainer. Today we are going to tackle something literally every single one of us struggles with at some point, the relentless noise inside our own heads. We're going to be bridging the fascinating world of modern psychology with some truly profound spiritual wisdom. And the goal here is to conquer overthinking and negativity once and for all. So if your thoughts are constantly running a marathon without your permission, you are in the exact right place. Let's engineer some mental peace. I want you to ask yourself this right now, and be really honest. Do you actually control your thoughts, or do they control you? It's a painful reality for so many of us, isn't it? We find ourselves trapped in this exhausting spiral of overthinking, assuming the absolute worst, and just feeling completely overpowered by a wave of negativity. But what if I told you that this overwhelming feeling isn't some permanent flaw in your character? It's simply a misunderstanding of how your internal machinery actually works. Okay, let's dive into this, because we need to clear up a massive misconception right out of the gates. We constantly use the words brain and mind interchangeably, but they are absolutely not the same thing. Think of the brain as the hardware, right? It's the CPU of a computer. It strictly processes raw data coming in from your five senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. It's just a data gatherer. The mind, on the other hand, well, that's the software. It's your operating system. It takes all that raw data from the brain and runs it through this massive, complex filter of your past experiences, your beliefs, your values, and your fears. And here is the kicker. You are the programmer of this mind. If you aren't intentionally programming it with positive instructions, it's just going to run on default, and those default scripts are almost always negative. 11 seconds. Just 11 seconds. It seems like a tiny, insignificant window of time, but in the realm of psychology and self-control, it is massive. You see, it takes exactly 11 seconds for a completely unconscious, ego-driven reaction to trigger in your brain when you're faced with a stressful situation. If you reply to that email, or shout or snap back at someone within this tiny window, you aren't actually making a choice. You are literally letting your unprogrammed, defensive ego take the wheel entirely. So how do we beat that trap? It's all about moving from a destructive reaction to a thoughtful response. The absolute moment you feel triggered, you need to run this specific protocol. First, just pause. Take 3 long, deep breaths. Second, if you can, physically change your location. Honestly, even just stepping into another room or grabbing a glass of water works wonders. Third, and most importantly, let that 11-second mark pass. By simply bypassing this critical little window, you actively deny your ego control and you give your higher mind the necessary time to boot up and respond with actual clarity. Now, imagine your life's desires and prayers as a bizarre math equation. Observation actually shows us that we often get exactly what we want, or receive immense blessings, a good 60% of the time. Yet we actively trap ourselves by obsessing over the 40% that didn't go our exact way. We totally ignore the 60% of answered prayers, completely blinding ourselves to the good, and we just hyper-focus on the perceived bad. It's an absurd, self-sabotaging equation, and we run it in our heads every single day. This brings us to a really profound spiritual dichotomy: sugar versus ficker. Sugar is the practice of deep, intentional gratitude for that 60%. It's appreciating what you already have. Ficker, on the flip side, is a state of constant worry, anxiety, and overthinking about what you lack. And here's the golden rule you need to remember. Failing to actively practice sugar automatically forces your mind into ficker. There's literally no neutral ground here. When you live in ficker, you adopt a victim mentality, constantly seeking outside validation and just wondering why the whole universe is supposedly against you. And the wildest part? Modern science completely validates this ancient wisdom through something called neuroplasticity. That's your brain's incredible ability to form new neural pathways based on your habits. Think of your brain like a muddy village field. The very first time you walk across it, it's messy, it's hard to get through. But if you walk that exact same path every single day, the mud packs down and it becomes a solid, clear road. If you constantly repeat negative thoughts, always worrying, complaining, playing the victim, you are literally carving a permanent superhighway of negativity right into your brain's architecture. But wait, here is the incredible news. You can literally rewire your brain to carve brand new roads. Modern research points us to the 66-day rule. To rewrite your mind's software and override all that negativity, you need repetition. On day 1, you introduce a positive counterthought. Say something to yourself like, "I am capable and things are working out for me." Keep doing it. By day 33 of repeating this, that new muddy path is really starting to firm up. And by day 66, Boom. The mind fully accepts this new reality as its default operating system. You can literally change your entire outlook with persistent, positive repetition. To truly install this new software, though, we really have to look at our core posture toward life. The source material contrasts two incredibly powerful archetypes. First up is the Iblis mentality. This is pure, unadulterated victimhood. It's saying, my circumstances made me do it, society is completely broken, my parents didn't support me, it's the creator's fault. Compare that to the Adam mentality. This is about taking absolute 100% responsibility for your own actions and your own mistakes. Successful people, peaceful people, they never play the victim. They own their choices instead of blaming their environment. Imagine a massive tank of the purest, most sacred Zamzam water. It's 99% pure. But what if I told you I just dropped exactly 1% of dirt and garbage into it? Would you drink it? No way. Of course not. You'd be totally disgusted. We are so insanely careful about what we put into our physical bodies, but why do we leave our minds wide open to contamination? We just allow toxic people, pessimistic friends, or endless negative news cycles to dump garbage right into the pure water of our minds. To stop this, you need to start using what the source calls the reflector technique. When someone comes up to you with gossip or complaints, or they try tearing down your dreams, do not just let it go in one ear and out the other. Because guess what? To do that, it still has to travel straight through your brain. Instead, you need to build a mental reflector shield. Intercept that noise before it enters. Politely decline the conversation, or mentally tell yourself, look, this is their garbage, not mine, and just bounce it right back. You have got to become a ruthless editor of the frequencies you allow into your life. Now, speaking of garbage frequencies, we absolutely have to talk about the social media illusion. The source humorously refers to the big platforms as first book, where everyone is just projecting this fake, perfect first impression, and crap chat. We sit there endlessly scrolling, right? Comparing our messy, beautiful real-world lives to the highly curated, often entirely fake highlight reels of others. But please remember this. Scrolling through negativity and unrealistic comparisons is an active choice. It is not fate. You are voluntarily choosing to drink that 1% garbage water every single time you mindlessly open those apps. And this whole digital culture, it is slowly eroding the meaning behind our daily interactions. We've actually started abbreviating profound greetings of peace, like Assalamu alaikum, down to 3 little letters like AOA, or offering a half-hearted thanks like Jazakallah, without even adding the khairan, the goodness, to it. These aren't just words. Traditionally, they are deep, intentional wishes for someone's well-being. By choosing these digital shortcuts over actual meaningful connection, we strip the spiritual weight and positive energy right out of our daily interactions. We save a microsecond of typing, sure, but we lose the profound, mindful habit of actually wishing good upon others. I want you to let this next thought really, truly sink in, because it is the ultimate mindset shift for lasting peace. Expect from the Creator, accept from the creation. So much of our pain comes from having these sky-high expectations of the flawed people around us and zero expectations from the universe or the divine. When people inevitably let us down, we completely shatter. So flip the script. Put your ultimate hope and highest expectations in a higher power, and practice radical acceptance and grace toward the flawed human beings in your life. But how do we actually do that in the real world? By separating the person from the action. We've got to distinguish between a human being and a human doing. Fundamentally, as human beings, we are beautiful, worthy, and deserving of compassion. But our human doings, our actions, our careless words in a moment of anger, our mistakes, those are deeply, deeply flawed. When someone hurts you, realize that their doing was wrong, but it doesn't mean their being is entirely evil. Dropping our rigid expectations of others' actions is seriously the strongest shield you can build to protect your own internal tranquility. So let me leave you with this final thought. Every single morning you wake up, your mind is a wide-open piece of software just waiting for its daily lines of code. Are you going to program it with 11-second ego reactions, endless ficker and worry, and completely fake social media illusions? Or are you going to code it with shukr, gratitude, the Adam mentality of total ownership, and the beautiful 66-day repetition of positivity? Because the choice is entirely yours. What are you coding into your mind today? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and start programming the peace you absolutely deserve.